Hello, my name is Michaela. I did my rabbit hole project on MDIs and unclaimed bodies. I chose this topic because I study forensic investigation and this is my desired career path. This topic explores what happens when someone dies and no one claims their body. So, what is an MDI? MDI stands for Medical Legal Death Investigator, and they work for the coroner or medical examiner to investigate deaths that fall under their jurisdiction. Their main job will be determining the cause and manner of death, specifically that in suspicious, violent, unexplained, or unexpected deaths. They will be dispatched out to the crime scene, and when they get there, they will secure the area, preserve evidence, photograph the body, bag the body, and then notify next of kin. So the best way I can describe an MDI is if you think of CSI crime scene investigators, they really only handle physical evidence like fingerprints and blood. MDIs are the same way, except they will only handle the deceased body, and they are typically the first professional to manage unclaimed deaths. And then what is an unclaimed body? An unclaimed body is basically what it sounds like. It means no one has stepped forward to take responsibility for the remains, either because the decedent had no family or their family can't or won't handle the costs of a funeral. This actually happens much more often than people think. In fact, in America, an upwards of 150,000 bodies remain unclaimed each year, and it is becoming increasingly common for people to not be claimed after death. So, with that background information out of the way, my central research question asked, what role do MDIs play in identifying and managing unclaimed bodies? And to uncover this, I looked at their scientific, legal, and ethical responsibilities. So, in any death investigation, identification is typically the first step in the process, and identification is one of the core responsibilities of an MDI. They often will start by checking the decedent's fingerprints, which can be found in police databases, digital devices such as phones, or even job applications, and then if that doesn't match with anybody, they will look at dental records that may match the decedent, or search the body for medical implants that have serial numbers on them, and these serial numbers will actually tell of the surgeon who did the implantation, the date of implantation, and at what hospital the surgery took place at. DNA testing is also widely used for identification, especially as forensic genealogy has become more common. I'm sure many of you know that you can extract DNA from blood, saliva, etc., so these samples will be taken from the decedent in an effort to ID the body. However, while we do have a lot of advanced technology that aids in identification, there are major challenges. For example, if a body is decomposed, fingerprinting and autopsies can become much harder. There's a phenomenon known as skin slippage, where the skin will kind of slough off, making autopsies increasingly difficult, as well as trauma can also destroy some key identifying features. So if a body has severe head trauma, that will make their face much more difficult to visualize and identify. And on top of that, some missing person databases aren't even connected nationwide, so even if someone is reported missing, it may not match with an unidentified body. And these issues can make it really difficult for MDIs to get answers quickly to law enforcement and families. And then whether a body is identified or left unidentified but is unclaimed, MDIs must shift their focus to follow legal procedures. There's actually no national standard in the US for how to deal with unclaimed bodies, so each state will do things a little bit differently. For example, in Wisconsin, unclaimed bodies are first offered to medical schools or mortuary schools for dissection or research. But if no institution accepts them, then the body will be cremated or buried by the government in a mass cemetery for the unclaimed. So even though the system is kind of fragmented throughout the US, the goal is truly to provide a respectful final disposition, and in my research, Wisconsin did do a nice job at that. So something MDIs also have to keep in mind is that ethics play a huge role in cases such as these, and just because someone is unclaimed doesn't mean they should be treated without dignity. There are debates around whether unclaimed bodies should be used for dissection without consent. Additionally, in the past, during COVID-19, around 500 to 800 bodies who were awaiting identification or to be claimed were stored for months in refrigerated trucks in New York City because morgues were overfilled. And while that was out of necessity because no one expected so many deaths in a short period of time, it definitely raised questions about what respectful treatment really looks like in a crisis, and MDIs really have to juggle social morals with reality and practicality. So, what role do MDIs play in unclaimed death investigations? They're truly more than just investigators. They're medical experts, legal guides, and advocates for ethics. They truly make sure that even people who die alone and unclaimed are treated with care and dignity, and their work reminds us that no one deserves to be forgotten, everyone deserves respect in death, just as in life. However, with that being said, there are things that we can improve on, such as a national unclaimed person database, a national standardization of postmortem practices, that way laws don't have to vary between states, and decreasing funding gaps within funeral homes and forensic labs. And these advancements really would aid in more bodies being claimed and at a faster rate. And then to wrap up, these are just some of the sources I used, whether I referenced them verbally or had quotes on the slide. These sources range from forensic journals and death care blogs to government laws and regulations, and thank you for listening.